Remember my name and all I became. The fortune and fame from shackles and chains.
So guys, in today's episode, I want to unpack a motto and a saying that's really kind of changed the way that I do things, the way that I see the world, the way that I see business and entrepreneurship, the way I see marketing, the way I see a lot of things. And the saying is this: never beg for a seat at another man's table when you can build your own. I'm going to say that again. Never beg for a seat at another man's table when you can build your own. Let me explain what that means to me. Quick story for you. A few years ago, some friends of mine, some business colleagues were throwing a huge seminar, and there was going to be 500 or 1,000 people there. You know, it was a 2-3 day event, and they were going to have 30 speakers. And so they did this campaign where they were going to announce a speaker a day for 30 days. Okay. And I thought, you know, when they rolled this out, I thought for sure I was going to be a speaker at this event. Like, beyond a shadow of a doubt, I would be on stage at this event. And so, you know, I'm looking at like, oh, cool, I got to get tickets. I'll be flying in. Oh, how cool that they're going to announce all these speakers over the next 30 days. This would mean a lot to me. It would mean a lot to my brand. Wow, it'd do a lot for me. Well, this is really cool. And I was like, wow, this would be badass. And so they started announcing the speakers. And so they're going to do 30 days of speakers, one speaker a day, and announcement 1, announcement 2, announcement 3, you know, and they're announcing it on social media. Oh, you know, so-and-so is going to be speaking on our stage. And they get to the first 10 and I'm like, man, I'm top 20. This is awesome. And they do another 5 and, you know, I'm tagging it and liking it and loving it. Like, man, these are some really cool people. And then they get to they get 15 done. And I'm like, man, are they going to let me know that I'm speaking? Like, they haven't called, but like, they know I'll come. You know, I think I was attending the seminar. So like, did they just expect that I was going to be there? So of course I'm going to speak. So they do the first 20 days, 20 speakers posted every day, you know, and it's going crazy on social media. And I'm like, man, am I really top 10 right now? Like, this is awesome. Like, wow, what a huge event. This would mean the world for me. Like, I'm really stoked to speak on the stage. And side note, you know, speaking is a big goal of mine and inspiring people. And I love it. And I love helping people. And like, some of my speeches have been really transformational for a lot of people. And so I'm like, dude, like, this is badass. So they announce, okay, we have our top 10. And then they do the next 5. And I'm like, man, am I really top 5 speakers at this event? Like, and it's getting bigger, right? Like, they're announcing the big dogs and the big dogs. And I'm like, man, am I like in this category? I was like, but man, they should probably let me know soon. And so they announce, you know, the 5th speaker, then the 4th, then the 3rd. And so this was like day 27. I'm like, man, am I the keynote? And they haven't told me yet? Are they going to surprise me with this? What's going on here? So they announce the next one and there's 2 left. And I'm like, okay, you know, like, man, this is coming up in a few weeks. You might want to let me know. Like, are they sending me a private jet? Like, is this a big surprise? They announce the 29th speaker. And then, you know, drum roll to our big keynote. And I'm like, man, are they going to tell me before they post this? Because, you know, looking at the list of 30 people, I should have, based on my track record and who I was. I mean, not judging, but like, man, I would have been like top 10 speakers, top 5, if not the keynote. And I'm like, well, man, like, I've done a lot more statistic wise than that person and that person. And I'm not comparing myself to others, but I was like, wow, like, it was a stage I would have been on, right? And then they announced the keynote and it wasn't me. And so of these 30 speakers, I wasn't thought of for their seminar. And I remember getting really upset about it and very emotional about this moment. I mean, think about how you would feel if you had this huge goal and you know, all of your friends were getting booked to speak and I wasn't picked. I was the last man picked. I wasn't chosen for the team. I wasn't drafted, you know, I was left out. And no call, no text, not even like, hey, we're going to do these speakers and not you, nothing. And so I remember getting really upset for it for like an afternoon when the last speaker went out. And then this quote that I just shared with you: never beg for a seat at another man's table when you can build your own. Because up until that point, I had held my own seminars. I had held my own conferences, and we had done some really life-changing transformational events. I created this event called the Transformation House, where we flew in 15 people to a huge, beautiful mansion on the beach here in San Diego, and we did 3 days of business building. And I've had my mastermind events that have been, you know, people have come and doubled their businesses, tripled their businesses, made huge moves in their life. And I was like, Nick, why are you upset? That's not your table. You can build your own. And I wanted to share that lesson with you today, because that lesson means a lot to me, and I hope that it does to you. And I hope that it shows you that it's not their job, it's not their obligation to book you on their stages. It's not their job or their obligation to have you on their podcasts. And I think about that, like as much as technology's progressed, right? Like you don't have to beg to be on somebody else's podcast. You can start your own. It's one of the reasons I started my Triumphant Life podcast, because I didn't want to have to feel like I was indebted to people. Does that make sense? And so if you have a voice and a message, go start your own podcast. It'll take you less than an hour or so, and then you have a podcast and you're able to share it. And guess what? When you own your own podcast, you can have yourself on whenever you want to. You can invite on the guests that you want to. And that seminar, I'll never forget it. And I'm passing this lesson to you today. And I think about that when it comes to, like, instead of begging people for brand deals, go create your own brand. You know, one of the reasons that we created our own apparel brand is I got tired of wearing other people's stuff, other people's names. So like at the end of the day, how do you create an apparel brand? Go get a t-shirt made. Go create a logo in canva.com. Go to Custom Ink and get a hat ordered. And instead of wearing somebody else's name on your back, wear your own. Build your own table. And I'm not saying you can rock other brands. That's not a problem there. But what I am saying is this: might as well keep the profits for yourself. And technology has progressed to a point where you can do anything in this world that you want to do. So you could start your podcast. You could start your own YouTube channel. You could start your own apparel brand. Or in this situation that I'm talking about, you could throw your own conference. And it's really cool. So if you're on the audio, you can't see this, but if you're on the video, I'm holding in my hands tickets to MenaceCon. So MenaceCon is the biggest event I'm ever throwing for small business owners, coming up on July 28th and 29th. And it was interesting, that story reminded me of that. And what's crazy is that conference that I wasn't booked to speak in 2 years ago was in Scottsdale, Arizona. And, you know, they believe that I wasn't top 30 in their world, and that's fine. But you know what's really cool? When you build your own stage, you can have on the people that you love. And so instead of waiting for somebody else to book me on their stages, we're throwing our own. We're throwing our premier event for small business owners in July in Scottsdale. And guess what? I'll be on stage multiple times. Why? Because I don't have to beg for a seat at somebody else's seminar when I'm a fucking great inspirational speaker, right? I can now invite on the people that I want to, and I choose to invite on my stage. I have my friends that have been rolling with me for years, and it's my way of supporting them and loving them. And I'm going to be speaking side by side with my partners, Jason and Terrence, who are amazing people. Terrence is incredible. He's an incredible business owner and an incredible entrepreneur. And just in 90 days, the first quarter of this year, one of his funnels that he's teaching from stage did 2,400 leads on $1 million of revenue inside of 90 days. And he's going to share that funnel from stage. And Jason Von Payne, my other business partner with Menace and Business, he built a $12 million roofing company inside of 2 years and just hit his first $1 million month. And I'm going to be sharing the stage with those guys, which is really, really powerful. It's really cool. So the tickets just came in. We got physical tickets printed up. If you don't have a ticket yet, go to menacecon.com. Right now we're doing buy one, get one free tickets on executive tickets that are $150. But it just reminded me of this story, guys. And so I want to just encourage you to just look at everything that you're doing and look at it from the standpoint of, if you can do it yourself, just go do it yourself. Whether that's, like I said, a podcast, a YouTube channel, videos, whatever, throw in a seminar, something that's important to you. An apparel brand, I don't know what's important to you, but I hope that this lesson helps. Never beg for a seat at another man's table when you can build your own. And even if you can't build your own, go figure out a way to build your own. Let me just speak about this conference for a second. You know, this will be the biggest conference we've ever thrown. There's hundreds and hundreds of people coming and multiple guest speakers and huge guest speakers. We don't know exactly what we're doing, but we're figuring it out. If you put the right, you know, your heart in the place, if you put your heart in the right place and your intentions in the right place, you'll figure out a way to make that happen, right? And so if there's something that you want in life and you've been wanting to get booked on other people's podcasts, just start your own and start sharing your own content. Somebody needs to hear your message and your voice. And I think that that's a beautiful and a powerful thing. And I know how upset I was from that story that I shared with you, but I'm so grateful that that happened to me. It wasn't their duty to promote my brand and my business. It's mine. And it's nobody else's duty to promote your business or your brand. It's yours. Whether that's a conference or a podcast or a mastermind or some webinar or some training or online course, I don't know what you're focused on. I don't know what your goals are right now. But I know this, somebody that has what you want, those influencers that have the 1 million followers, or those TikTok stars, or somebody's got a badass online course and they're making $1 million a month, or, you know, Joe Rogan has got this beautiful podcast. You realize they all had to start somewhere by figuring out that they wanted their own table. Really cool story. I watched some of the early episodes of Joe Rogan's experience, the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, and they were rough. and they were blurry and shot on really bad audio, but everybody has to start somewhere. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. You know, there's a big apparel brand that I love and I follow and I've learned a lot from. And I remember hearing a story about that where they just started with one t-shirt. Just one t-shirt, you know, and now they're selling millions of t-shirts and hats and you name it, right? But everybody had to start somewhere. The author that you look up to, you know, that sold 1 million books had to start with one book. The course creator that's making $1 million a month had to start with their first video. The podcast person that's blowing it up had to start with their first episode. The conference or this inspirational speaker had to start with their first speech. You name it. I can go on and on and on. You get the point. We don't need to go over that. But what I am trying to stress to you is this. They all had to start somewhere, but they also had to go out on their own, get afraid. And yes, going out into the water or the ocean, it's going to be scary and the waves are big and the water's cold and you're afraid of sharks and all those things, but you have to get in the water. Reminds me of one of my favorite quotes of all time. A ship in the harbor is safe, but that's not what ships are built for. And that's so true and so beautiful. And I think that is starting your own apparel brand tough? Yes. But nothing good in life comes without taking a risk and doing something that's uncomfortable. You know, somebody was just talking to me. He's like, dude, I want to start my own podcast, but I've never done it. And I responded with this: to do something you've never done, guess what? You have to do something you've never done. You know, the guy that has that podcast with 100,000 subscribers, he didn't just fall there overnight, right? He earned it. He started with one episode. The person that has all those followers started with their first TikTok video, or whatever that is, right? The person that packs seats at their seminar started with their first ticket sale. And I just hope that this inspires you. And maybe my story could inspire you to build your own table. And I'll say it again because I just think it's so beautiful. I'll never beg for a seat at another man or woman's table, right? When you can build your own. Go get some nails, go get some wood, start building your own. You know, if there's something I can do to help you build your own, let's talk. You know, when I wrote my first book, you know, we had looked at going to publishers, and I could, you know, indebt myself and go beg these book publishers to publish my story, or I could just write my own book, right? I think I have one here, and let me see if I can find it. I went and published my own book, self-published my own book, so I didn't have to be reliant on a publisher. And now I help people self-publish their own books. And it's crazy. We've been able to help these people, all these beautiful people, publish their own books. But I don't get there without going and build my own table, right? You don't get there. And so you could publish your own book. You could start your own podcast. You could start your own apparel brand, start your own TikTok channel, your own YouTube channel, whatever that means to you, right? Start your own gym. You know, you're working out at somebody else's gym, go start your own. Taking somebody else's supplements, go get your own. Write your own book, start your own podcast, throw your own conference, right? And I just think it's so beautiful. These tickets just showed up yesterday, and I had a moment of reflection when I stopped and I thought about that story. And it inspired me to hop on today on today's episode and just pass this along to you, because maybe this does inspire you. Maybe this helps you. But no matter what, whoever, you know, has that big table you want to sit at, they had to start somewhere. And I hope that that inspires you. And I just wanted to let you know that I have faith in you and I believe in you. And if you want some more information about menacecon.com or MenaceCon, our conference, go to menacecon.com or DM me, get a hold of me. And I hope that I've added some value to your life, some energy to your life. And never forget, don't beg for a seat at another man's table when you can build your own. If this inspired you, please do me a favor. Post a comment. Give me a review. It's one of the greatest compliments I could ever get is if you review us. And more importantly, pass this along to a friend. If you have somebody that is maybe trying to start their own business, pass this along to them. Somebody that maybe wants to start their own apparel brand, pass this along to them. Start their own podcast. You know, I believe that I'm the one here to help inspire you to share your message with the world. I believe that somebody out there needs your help. I believe that you could be a voice. And I believe that a podcast is a way to reach them. I believe that writing a book is a way to reach them. I believe that, yes, throwing a conference is a way to reach them, which I'm personally doing. You know, I believe all of that. I believe that somebody needs to see your smile, and you can be light and hope, and you could really help inspire them in the world. So I hope this inspired you. If it did, go shoot me a message on Instagram at The Triumphant Life. I'd love to hear from you. Slide into those DMs. Let me know. If you do, I have something special for you. If you listen to this episode and you go DM me something you learned, I want to give you a gift. And that's the gift of one of my online courses. It's called the 30-Day Challenge. It's so funny. Before we finish, I was terrified to start that course. It's a life-changing course. It changed my life. Heck, it saved my life. It's changed a lot of people's lives. And I was so afraid to share that because I wasn't one of the big course creators yet. I wasn't one of the big gurus, right? But it started with one video. It started with one course. It's the first course I ever built and created. It's a $500 course. You can have it for free, just as my gift to you as a way of encouraging you to chase your dreams. And I want to give you this program that has been amazing to me. So go DM me on Instagram. I'm at The Triumphant Life. just DM me something you learned and say, hey, can I get that login? I would be honored to give you a scholarship to my program, the 30-day challenge, or post a comment here wherever you're watching this or listening to this. Post a comment here and say, yo, Nikki T, can I get a login to the 30-day challenge? It would be my honor to grant you that $500 scholarship and that gift just to inspire you. The 30-day challenge teaches you to build a ton of momentum, to build a ton of progress, which I'm obviously going to be going over in July at our own conference. Hey, I don't need somebody to have me on their stages anymore. You know what? I built my own table. I built my own stage, and I get to have on my friends, which would be really, really powerful. So, guys, this has been another episode of the Triumph for Life podcast, and I can't wait to add some more value to your life, and I'll see you on the next one.
I was worth it, found my purpose, went from the abyss to the surface, the reward of constantly working.